Hello, guys and gals. I'm back with a brand new review because I just saw The Purge. Literally, I just saw it a few hours ago. The Purge is about in the near future, the government issues a program where there is a night totally devoid of laws, and the story follows the Purge through the lives of this family, who has a son who makes a mistake of letting in a stranger who's looking for help outside on the streets. And the house is soon swarmed by a bunch of psychopaths looking for him. And it just follows the family through the night of dealing with just basically everything that goes wrong. So, I'm going to start this review by flat out saying there will be spoilers. So, if you don't want anything for this movie spoiled, you might as well just turn off the video right now. But for those of you that want to hear some of my opinions, I will be putting up captions that say spoiler alert and then end of spoilers when I'm done spoiling stuff, basically. And I hate to do it, but it's really the best way to do it because I need to explain a lot of things in details to get my point across. I'm going to start out with the pros I have with this movie. It's Ethan Hawke plays the father, James, the father of the family, and he does good work. He's a good actor. He can put up with drama, but he can also do happy. He can do the lighter stuff in the movie, and he keeps up with it really well. But the biggest star of this movie is the head of the psychopaths, as he's credited in the cast as Polite Leader. He's played by Rhys Wakefield, and he is scary good. When I was watching him, I couldn't help but thinking of Alex from A Clockwork Orange, because he's just one of those characters that gets so much delight out of being a complete creep. And he's just so despicable and disgusting and creepy, and every time he was on the screen, you're just uncomfortable, and you know he's not messing around, and it's just well done, very well done. The movie is directed by James DeMonico, and he does a good job with cinematography and stuff, setting up shots, good camera work. It's very clean, very quick, very tight when it needs to be, very open when it needs to be. Very good job directing. Now, let's get to the cons, because I hate to say it, but there's a lot. So, get comfy. James DeMonico also wrote the movie, and he's a much better director than he is a writer. I'm not really sure what else he has written or directed. I'll have to look up on it. But, let's start with, alright, I don't really find this, a spoiler, so I'm not going to put up a header, but it kind of hints at a few things. When I was watching the movie, the problems I noticed kind of came in chronological order for me. The first problem is the son's motivation. I can understand the son having pangs of conscience when there's a man being chased by psychos on the street screaming for help. I completely understand that you might want to let him in. Granted, it's really not the best course of action. Because well, it's the Purge, and you don't know what this guy is up to. But I can understand letting him in. What I don't understand, and what's completely unrealistic, is when your family is being threatened by the psychos that have chased the guy you have let in off the street, and you help him hide inside the house. You don't do that! When you have the choice of either your family's lives or a stranger off the street, I'm sorry, but you pick your families and chuck the guy out. That's just that's human nature. It's survival of the fittest. And since you just let this guy in on a whim, why are you helping him so much? I do like the idea of the... I forgot to mention this with the pros. I do like the idea of the Purge. I think it's a clever concept. And as far to my knowledge, it's really never been done in a movie. Unless it's something like Escape from New York, where the whole city of New York is just a prison. And I think it's a clever idea. Granted, it's really not... It would never work because, well, there are no laws during this night. But it's a clever concept. I like the concept. But the movie can't survive on the concept alone. Now, since I was on the subject of the sun, let's talk about the sun. The sun... I can tell that the writer was trying to give the son more character by making him do these weird, quirky things. Like, he has a heart rate monitor, and he's always checking his vitals, and he writes a bizarre story about a man who cuts his own heart out because his love kills people. But the weirdest thing is, I want to read in the script where it says, the sun controls a remote-controlled tank with a half-melted baby doll stuck on top of it, which has a video camera in it, so we can use it as a spy toy. Where did that idea come from? It blows my mind on so many levels. And it's like, oh, you can tell that they're thinking, okay, this gives our character depth. This makes the son a really interesting character. No, it makes the character frickin' creepy. The son is weird. He's weird. That's all I can say about it. The mom's motivations. The mom is played by Lena Headey, and the mom's motivation is really confused because she bounces back and forth from wanting to help the guy they let in off the street and wanting to toss him back out, and it ping pongs back and forth so many times it's obnoxious. The movie doesn't know... I feel like the movie doesn't know whether it's trying to be an action thriller or a horror movie, because there are plenty of action scenes where the psychos are breaking in and they're gunning them down, but there's a lot of scenes with like just the psychos just staring into the camera and doing obscene things and just acting creepy, and there's a whole crap ton of jump scares. And when you have those two genres, though can be intermixed, are pretty different, and this one doesn't intermix them quite right, so it makes the style muddled and confused. There's a completely pointless story arc where the daughter is dating this guy who the dad doesn't approve of because he's older than the daughter, and the boyfriend sneaks in before Purge starts, before they lock down, and he pulls a gun on the dad only to get shot. Okay, that character really wasn't necessary. And I know you can argue, well, this kind of jumpstarts events, that like everything is happening at once. You don't need that, because letting the stranger in is jumpstart enough, because that's a problem, a big problem you have to deal with. Having the boyfriend come in only to get shot just about immediately is completely pointless, and really doesn't make any sense in the long run, since they just about all but forget about him. But my biggest problem with this movie is the quote-unquote twist ending, and this is a huge, huge spoiler. The twist ending is that, like, once the psychos break in, the neighbors start to come in and help out the family by killing the psychopaths. But the neighbors turn the guns on the family, and the one chick is like, oh, we're here to punish your family because your husband was making money by selling us all security equipment, and you flaunted it about by adding on to your house and stuff. So you're punishing the family because the guy was doing his job? That right there is completely poor writing. And these are people that live on the same street in the same neighborhood and have been around this family all the time. And they're gonna kill them just because the family was making money? Granted, they were buying things from them, but that was their own choice. The guy was just doing his job, and to wipe out the whole family because of a job does not make any sense. And that's the one thing that legitimately pissed me off about this movie. The other stuff was just kind of like, okay, yeah, these are flaws. But this was the one flaw that really gets under my skin. So, as you can see, the cons I have with this movie really outweigh the pros. And it makes it really hard to recommend this movie. I would give it 2.5 creepy masks out of 5. I don't really see the need to ever see it again unless it's like playing on TV and I've got nothing better to do. I'm definitely not gonna buy it on DVD, and other than that, like I said, I don't see a need to see it anymore. It's not one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's far from one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But it has some really big problems. And although I said that the idea of The Purge is a clever idea, you can't make a good movie just off of a clever idea. So that is my diagnosis. Take it for what it's worth.